So, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing. Are you cold?
It's a little chilly out.
Yeah, just a little chilly. Welcome to episode 5 of Porch Thoughts, everybody. I am your host, Brandon, and sitting across from me is your co-host for today, Trey, or Lewis. Tell them who you are.
Hi.
Tell them you exist.
I'm Trey. That's who I am. Therefore, I exist. No, but I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm his brother. Has some good things and bad things.
That's true.
It's cold out here.
We should have them think that it's just me editing the video and talking to myself the whole time.
That would be believable.
That would be
you are the middle
fun.
child.
I should do
and
an
you're always
episode.
forgotten. So you probably had times where you had to worry about. Well, the other two gone. I gotta pretend I have a brother.
Yes, sure. if that's what you think, or that's what you want to believe, you know. But I got a question for you.
Okay.
You already know what I'm about to ask. Do you believe there's butter in the water?
I think there's water in our butter.
End it there.
End it there?
End it there. That's the episode. That's all we need.
I completely hijacked
Nothing else. Nothing else. This is all we
episode.
need. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all on the flip side. That's great. But yeah.
Why do I think that?
Why do you think that?
Well, water is an ingredient in everything. You're 75% water?
There probably is water in butter, for real.
That's what I'm saying. Logically.
Logically,
It's not
yes,
far
but
from
you make
the
it
truth.
sound like I'm about to break cut a thing of butter, and then water's just gonna spill out like a waterfall or something.
Exactly. I mean, that's
okay.
not more crazier than your belief of going to a glacier and a bunch of butter comes out when you break into it.
Well, I mean, it's all just frozen butter. Glaciers.
Glaciers are all just frozen butter.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Don't get me started with refrigerant is, but.
What about the ocean?
The ocean? All butter. I mean.
It's all butter. Okay.
Think about the oil spills.
You're trying to justify why it gets so oily because in the water it changes colors. So you're saying butter when you spill it or it melts, it's all oily, and the water looks weird. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, kind of.
It's
that believable?
Not convincing enough.
Not convincing enough? Well, hey. Well, we do have
to say there is butter in our water. What is this theory? Elaborate more on this.
the theory of butter in the water. I already discussed this on the first episode, but audio was terrible, so I don't know if anyone really heard anything what me and Evan said. But butter being in the water. So I came into work one day. This is back when I worked with Evan, and I just went up to him and was like, "Evan, I think there's butter in our water." And he was just like, "What did you just say?" I was like, "There's butter in the water, legit. You can't change my mind on it." He was like, "This is worse than flat Earth, but you know what? I actually like this one." I was like, "Okay, well, let's keep driving it then." And it's just a joke that we just kind of never stopped going. It's kind of like skinwalkers. We always make jokes about skinwalkers and how they're locked in my basement.
The basement of a 2-story apartment. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The neighbor downstairs, she's obviously a skinwalker.
Fair.
Skinwalker.
Okay. I mean,
But yeah, it's just an ongoing joke that me and my buddy made up. And that's it. But without further ado, we do have some interesting topics to get into, you know. So, you've had quite the selection. I don't know whether to start off with the less serious stuff or just jump into the.
Let's
talk.
Let's progress.
Let's progress.
Yeah,
All
it's
right, let's
progress. In the gym, you progressively overload. So we'll progressively overload what we're talking about.
Fair enough. Let's do that. All right. So, first topic we have out here is anime. So, tell me about anime, bro.
Tell you.
I watch anime. I have manga. I already know about it, but tell me what... I want to hear what you have to say about it.
So, anime. I think anime is arguably better than most, if not all, primetime TV. It is better.
Why is that?
Because, well, primetime TV, I mean, what shows you got? You got, like, Grey's Anatomy, which is about a bunch of doctors, nurses, you know.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, it's scandalous. You know what I mean? Like, most primetime TV shows are scandalous, or they're about crime. You got CSI.
Yeah.
You got,
Scandal.
You got Bones. You got,
The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor. You got House. You got Lost, which actually Lost is pretty creative, and I'll give it props for that. That was back in a time
Lost
where
was very unique in its time. It was ahead of its time, if anything.
I do feel like I wasted my time trying to figure out what happened at the end because that ending was terrible.
Did.
But that was back in the day when TV shows were actually pretty good because you had Heroes, you had Lost. Can't think of any other shows. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was pretty good.
I was gonna say Mythbusters, but that kind of gets into like
that's like documentaries. I'm not counting that.
I watched a lot of Mythbusters like 2 weeks ago because literally a place I went to, we had nothing to do at work and they had a TV and we're just like, all right, let's watch some Mythbusters.
But like, I would say anime is better in the aspect of you learn something from a lot of anime. Let's take a step back. Let's look at Naruto.
Okay.
Prime example. Most of the villains he fights either turn good, and you see their backstory, and you learn that like, hey, there's a reason this person turned evil.
Right.
I feel like it's more substance. Now there are shows out there that are pretty good and are like that. Like you got what's it called? Black Mirror on Netflix. That's one. I would say it has some substance. It's pretty dark, but it's like if technology took over our lives, pretty much. You have the Game of Thrones that everyone's hyped over. You get The Walking Dead. Those are pretty creative stories. But like, how many of those do you have throughout the TV shows? Like with anime, you have all kinds of stuff. You have stuff for different audience. You have stuff for kids. So you got Pokemon. Pokemon's technically an anime. Yu-Gi-Oh.
A lot of people grew up on Pokemon and Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah.
And they were just like, I don't watch anime at all, but I watch Pokemon,
Dragon Ball, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm just like, yeah, me too. And Digimon, yeah. Bakugan and Beyblade.
Yeah, let's not go far down this road. I will also argue those shows were more to sell toys.
Yeah.
Pokemon, the cards came out before the show. But in saying that, it teaches you that like training and working hard gets you somewhere. That's, I would say, the premise of Naruto. He wants to be the Hokage, and along the way he has these different like enemies, and not all of his enemies are just pure evil. Now you have a couple that are just, you know, they're evil. You can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
But like enemies, like there's a guy, he's called Pain. He is a reanimated corpse of someone's pupil. And Naruto pretty much brings back his memories, and he turns good, like point blank. Like,
I didn't like that arc.
You didn't like the Pain arc.
It was awesome, but it also had you thinking everyone was gonna die, and then the end of it was just like
everyone's good.
Everyone turns back to life.
See, now,
that's literally what it was. I'm just like, what?
And
they could have done a lot with that.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. If that's not your taste in anime, there's shows like that. Attack on Titan. I know you haven't watched it all. But that's another show where, hey, like, this guy's going out to, like, try to wipe out all the Titans, and he loses his soul pretty much doing that.
Right.
He loses his, I won't say soul, I'll say he loses his humanity. That's a really good show. You have Eren, you have Levi, you have Mikasa.
Yeah.
You have a chick who likes potatoes.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Fan favorite. If anyone has ever watched that far, you already know. You're already sad about that. Anyways.
Oh, boy.
You have shows like Berserk. I'm sure you've talked about Berserk.
Oh, I have many a times. Now, I haven't talked about the show Berserk. I've talked about the manga.
Well, I'll say...
And the movies. But, all I can say about this show, from what I've seen, I hated it. I just hated it. Everything about it was bad. But like, if you get the manga, and a lot of people don't want to do it, but like, and I don't blame people for not wanting to get manga because it is expensive to get a bunch of books, a bunch of paper, and especially the deluxe edition of Berserk. They're like 60, maybe 50. You can find them cheaper, like 30 on Amazon, but to buy them at a store, it's like $50 to $60 each.
For sure.
So I understand why some people would just be like, oh, I'll just watch the movie or the show. Or if you watch the 90s show, then you'll have a better experience than the 2017.
But that only goes so far into the story.
Yeah, it doesn't go past the golden arc.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a good
And I see that
arc though for the movie.
that story is one of those few stories that like mean a lot to you. I would also say, on that same note, another show that is only like a little bit over 25 episodes, Cowboy Bebop. One of the greatest anime shows. Like, I will tell you.
I don't think I've talked about Cowboy Bebop as much as I said Bebop as much as I'd love to. But
oh yeah, Cowboy Bebop. Such a complex story, even though it's put into like smaller chunks in each episode. So you don't have the whole story. Like you know that there are a bunch of broke space bounty hunters, space cowboys. But like throughout, it's weaving a story about the main character Spike's past, which I really appreciated that. And when I got to the end, like I was like maybe 2 episodes away from finishing it. I was like, there's no way they're gonna wrap it all up. And they wrapped it all up. And that ending, if you haven't seen it, another great ending.
Just say depressing. What happens. Spoilers at this point.
Bang.
I ain't doing that. Bang. I've talked about Evangelion quite a bit on here.
Oh yeah, Evangelion, another great one. Even though like I hate it at the same time. That is a love-hate relationship.
Everyone knows
the
I hate
guy who
it.
wrote it hasn't been able to decide how he wants to end the show.
Yeah, he even made movies, like new movies, and it's just like you already wrapped up the story with the entire show plus a movie that came out relatively around the same time. So it's just like no point in restarting everything, but he still did it, and they're not bad. It's just kind of like you get the same dead inside feeling, but just you're happy.
Another great show is Erased. That is.
Oh, no one talks about Erased.
Yeah, it was what, 12 episodes? It was reasonably short.
11. I watched them all in English.
That is such a good story. It's not action. It's not. Well, it kind of is action, but it's depressing, is what it is.
Yeah, I've watched it all in the English dub in one day because the first time I saw it, it was all just Japanese subtitles. But I mean, it was a really good experience nonetheless. I watched it all in a day, and anyone can do that.
Oh yeah, it's
if you're a couch potato and have nothing else to do with your day.
You're sick at
go
home.
ahead. Hey,
you got COVID?
Yeah,
COVID.
There you go. You can literally just sit down and watch Erased, and you'll be like, wow, I wish I got COVID again and relived this entire experience of watching it once.
Yeah, such a good story. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody who plans on watching it, but great show. Another one, it's a little bit older, Bleach. I've been watching that as of late. I'm trying to catch up to watch the new arc that they just released. But it's such a good story. Like the Soul Reapers, and their job is to ferry like pretty much hollowed souls to the afterlife. And they have this like samurai garb. They have a whole soul society. Such a great show. I would say it's hard to get into a lot of anime shows because a lot of them have this common problem called filler. And there's a lot of episodes you could skip that are not important. I understand someone telling me like, hey, why watch it? There's so many episodes that aren't good to watch. I'm not saying they're not good, but they mean nothing to the story.
Right.
But even though, like, that is like one of the big 3 animes that are classic. There's one piece I have never really
delved into it.
I watched like 5 episodes and then I took a break. I'm very unloyal to shows.
I feel it. I got that same problem. Can't watch a show and be not watching another one at the same time. Like right now, I'm trying to watch Moon Knight, and then me and my girl, we'll watch an entire season of a show over here, while Moon Knight is over here only 2 episodes watched. But I really love Moon Knight right now. He's just a very different character.
Yeah. I've only watched
he's white
like
Batman.
2 episodes.
I mean, I like his comics more.
Yeah, I agree.
But like the show is not bad so far. I mean, I enjoy it
Yeah.
somewhat.
But I was going to also segue into that's a newer show. A lot of the newer animes are pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you haven't watched a lot of them, like Demon Slayer. Great show. That's
I
like
want
one
to.
of
I have
the
a
only
first
shows that I can get my girlfriend to watch consistently. Like anime wise, and she loves it. Like she actually wants to watch it. But it's a really good story. It's about 2 siblings. One dies and becomes a demon, and the brother is a demon slayer, and he's trying to find a way to cure his sister from being a demon. Great story. Great storyline. A lot of people call it mini Berserk because it's pretty brutal, but it's got its own legs to stand on. I don't think it sits in the shadows of any predecessors.
I don't like it when people like
compare
things, especially to Berserk.
Oh yeah.
You cannot compare anything to Berserk. The only thing I can really compare it to is like Lord of the Rings, but like that's only because it has the aspects that I love from those movies.
Yeah.
I'm a big like
fantasy guy.
I love fantasy.
Yeah, and that's another thing too.
Movies,
that's the problem with the anime community in general is that everyone's comparing it to the greatest anime they've ever watched. Look at all the mech animes that exist. You have Evangelion, you have Gundam, you have
Darling in the Franxx.
Darling in the Franxx. You have what's that other show?
You got
Code
the
Geass.
Transformers, Armada.
Nah.
That was a good one, though.
It was a good show.
It was real good, yeah.
But I wasn't even thinking of that. But everyone compares the show to something else, and that's the main problem. But you get that with other shows. I mean, look at how many like crime shows are on TV: CSI, Law and Order, Bones.
Dun, dun.
Like it's all about trying to get the bad guy. You just have your different flavor, pretty much. But anime, I would say, is similar. You have your different flavors. You have your regular everyday life shows that are like Spice Up.
Fruits Basket.
Yeah, they call it Spice of Life, where it's just about people in school trying to, I guess, make it in school and do school things.
My Hero Academia.
Yeah, you have superheroes like My Hero Academia. You have One Punch Man, which is more comedy side. I get that.
I think comedy hits more with anime. At least to me.
Depends on the show. There's a show I'm currently watching called Chainsaw Man. And the comedy in that show is great. Because it's just it's just out the box. You wouldn't have thought about it until, boom, it happened. Then, another good show, and this will probably be the last anime I go on. I'll add a second one, actually, to that. Jujutsu Kaisen. Great show. It is one of those shows that, like, a lot of people have that stereotype of anime characters and anime females and whatever, but it's actually like against that. It's the person who wrote it was a female, and you can tell, but like it's very masterfully made. Like all the characters make sense in that world. Like it can get dark, but it can be funny at times.
Right.
Good story. Same with another show that I would compare it to is Full Metal Alchemist. That's another one that's like it takes away from the formula.
I couldn't do
fan service.
I could not do
Brotherhood.
No, I couldn't do any of it. It's just like I don't know. It's not hitting.
But like it's a good show.
It just wasn't hitting for me, man. I don't know what it is.
Did you get to the episode where that guy does like they call it transmutations, where they mutate people into animals?
Was he like a rat or something like
that? No,
he was
a normal human. But he literally got his daughter. Like his daughter had a dog.
Yeah.
And like he transmutated them together.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, that was really like depressing and dark. Like, and the outcome of it was like they didn't do anything to him. They just kind of walked away from the situation.
Yep.
I was just like, that's insane. I would never have thought that. You don't see that in regular TV shows because animation gives you liberties to do things that you couldn't do. Like you have so many with actors, they can only act so much with certain situations. Like if you look close enough to actors, you can see them breathing when they get shot or something.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. They can break a lot of rules that the real world can't.
Yeah, for sure.
And another show, last one, Tokyo Revengers. Have yet to finish the first season, but it's great. It's about rival gangs in Japan. Like, they're like kids in high school.
Rival gangs in Japan?
Yes. It's actually pretty cool. It's like a biker, like, it's more like biker gangs.
Biker gangs. Okay.
And like Yakuza.
I can
But
see
it has that little trope of time traveling back and forth between the different times. Because the main character is kind of a crybaby, which you get that in a lot. Like, I call it main character syndrome. You have either you're a complete idiot, you're a crybaby.
Who is it?
What's that? Or you're
My Hero Academia main character.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even like a whiny, complains a lot character. He's just like over dramatic over everything. Oh, your shoe was untied. Oh my goodness, the fact that his shoe was untied. It's just like, dude, why are you yelling about this?
So the three tropes. This main character syndrome to me, is you're either a complete idiot, you're a wimp and a crybaby and a weakling, or you're a stoic, cold-hearted guy who's just like, that's it. He's the cool guy, and he's too cool to relate to. Which I would say that to Spike. Even though Spike is cool and he has, like, his character builds up, your first initial thing is like, this guy is really too cool, and I don't see him like ever being like, showing emotion or anything. But he's a guy with PTSD and has issues from his past.
Yeah.
Trying to escape his past, which eventually catches up to him in time.
Right.
And you have other characters like Faye, which everyone like I said, she seems like a very surface-based character. But Faye is also like
Faye.
She's got issues too. Like she's from she's from the original Earth, and Earth got destroyed supposedly, and she's just displaced.
Right.
You have Ed, who is also like this little girl who her father left her, and it's like it's relatable to a lot of people. I'm not gonna say for me, no, but
oh yeah, definitely not.
Like people's stories kind of play out differently. You have what's the guy's name? Jack?
No, Jet.
He is an ex-cop, and he was working for a police department that was corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are all relatable things. And then you got the dog, Corgi.
I love corgis.
That's like
that show made me want to. It made me want a corgi. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason I like corgis.
I wouldn't have known anything about corgis if it wasn't for that show.
I would have known, but I wouldn't have think they were cool.
Yeah, no.
But
you talking about all these anime had me thinking about me talking to one of my coworkers who was very big into Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like any other anime.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a very southern, redneck type of guy. So him watching any type of anime, kind of, you wouldn't think he would.
Yeah.
But he only watches that one. So, but he said one thing about Dragon Ball. He said it's just the entire premise of the show. It's very uplifting, encouraging, and it's very motivating.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and make this into a segue into more serious topics, I guess, that are not anime.
Go ahead.
So
I would even say this. That, like,
how do I move this from there to motivation?
I got you.
You get me.
Okay, so anime. A lot of the characters are going through trials, and they usually make something better of themselves.
Okay.
Out of it. Naruto. He wants to be the greatest ninja. He wants to be the Hokage. He's pushing and training every day. He's breaking his bones. Like, he's doing the best he can. You have Goku, who's trying to reach the next Saiyan level. He's trying to get as strong as he can so he can fight the next guy. I think that is a great segue into being motivated to get into fitness. You don't see that in other TV shows. That you can't get inspired by other characters.
Right.
From my perspective, this is all opinion based. But from most TV shows outside of anime, I don't get inspired to do nothing. A lot of anime, it kind of inspires me to get into the gym. I want to be like the character who trains hard and gets better. Baki, prime example. He's a fighter. He wants to be the best fighter. He's gonna
don't get me wrong.
Terrible things. What?
I mean,
I mean, I'm not.
some aspects I want to be like Baki. Not all aspects.
That is true, but that inspires me to push harder because I don't know. I think how your motivation also comes from the things that you intake.
Yeah.
So if you're intaking things that motivate you to do things, I think anime can help you just as much as, say, like reading the Bible and getting wisdom, or even like, I mean, the Bible will be obviously more and more wisdom from it.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, don't, I wouldn't suggest anime over the Bible, but.
Well, no, I'm just saying you're taking in positive things that help you
Information.
motivate. Yeah, inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going with that. Reading Stoicisms. Marcus Aurelius. I know you're big into that. Yeah. I know you're big into that stuff.
Epictetus. The Enchiridion was a... Whoo! It was a big book.
But I also think...
I mean, I'll listen to it. I didn't read it.
But tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, man. I can't remember everything 'cause it's been a little while ago since I've listened to it on Audible.
How has that, like... I would say, how has that... intaking those words of wisdom... like, affected your life? Like, you know... I'm not even going to say affected your life, but, like, affected your motivation to do certain things.
Well, it's like... Here's the thing about Stoics and Stoicism. There are a bunch of dudes from back then who you wouldn't think have the problems that we do these days. Who think the same way we do. But they're long gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the fact that someone has went through it that long ago... and they documented it to now. It kind of it's motivating actually.
Yeah,
because it's also not just everyday stuff. But I don't know. It's just something about it.
I know
it can be
a lot of the
motivating.
quotes because I follow the Daily Stoic on Instagram. And
Yeah.
There's also a book that he wrote that I listened to on Audible. Apologies.
We're good.
I've noticed that it, like, just even reading like those like quotes and stuff from them, it has helped me kind of like, you know, hey, let me just take it back and think about this real quick, you know. Not it shouldn't be like the only thing that you're taking. Like, you know, you should probably find other words of wisdom in the Bible. Like you got Proverbs. Proverbs is full of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But even
Proverbs is basically
huh?
Proverbs is basically everything you can find that a Stoic has said.
I agree.
It's literally the book of wisdom. All the things that Stoics have talked about, it's all in Proverbs. But it's
just,
still cool hearing a Stoic.
Yeah, someone
like
on the outside
Marcus
without
Aurelius.
having a faith. Like, it just shows like how the Bible already has it figured out. You're just noticing, like, you know, how people outside who have no connection to that have come to that conclusion.
Yeah, there's just one little podcast that I was listening to for a little bit. I forgot what it was called, but it was just a big Stoic one. It was like a good 5-10 minute episodes. He was an atheist, but like he's very big into like Stoicism and how the Stoics think, and kind of talking about some of the quotes that they left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting to find people who also don't have a faith in God, have some kind of belief in...
And they're coming to a conclusion that like, you could lead them kind of closer to the water if you had, like, you know, if you were to cross paths with them, you could easily lead them like closer to the water. But I think also,
goodness,
I'm gonna say motivation is great, you know, and it's good for your mental health.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just gotta have to like go and do something. You can't just.
Oh yeah.
You can't just rely on motivation, because I'm gonna take a spin into fitness for a little bit. Going to the gym every day, you're not gonna have the same motivation. You're just gonna have to make yourself go. Going for a run every day.
At 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m. like you're doing currently. You don't. I'm
trying
pretty
to
sure
resist.
you're not jumping for joy to go. Like I'm.
Oh
not
no. I do what David Goggins says. I stare at my shoes for like a good 30 minutes. before I do anything.
Yeah, of course. Of
I
course.
just say to myself, I really don't want to do this.
Of course. Of course. That's a big thing. Like, I don't want to, like, when I get off work, I have like an hour of gym time that I'm supposed to do. And sometimes I want to go home and, like, I don't know, pick up a pizza and watch TV or do something, play a game. But, you know, you gotta do what's good for your health before
Right.
that. Because at the end of the day, my main motivation, or what keeps me going, is when I get down the line when I'm older, I want to be able to walk good. I want to be as independent as possible. And by doing that, I gotta go to the gym and make myself suffer.
Yeah.
There was a quote.
By who? Would have been like Marcus Aurelius? Or...
No, there was something that I recently saw. See if I can pull it up real quick. It's from Alexis Carrel. It's a man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor.
Ooh.
So,
Amen.
and all that, and all of that,
Preach.
you have to suffer before you get better. You're always gonna go through something difficult. I kind of it's just point blank. Life is not made to be easy. It was supposed to be easy, but you know, the first two people messed that up for everybody. So
Yeah, and if it was easy, if anything was easy, everything would be pointless. Let's be honest. I read one book from I guess you can call him a Stoic, Thich Nhat Hanh.
okay,
It's called No Mud, No Lotus.
yeah,
The premise of that book is you can't have good times without the hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that was like one of the best books I've listened to that was full of wisdom. I mean, he does have some elements of Christianity and Buddhism,
yeah,
but it's like he really goes in depth with things and how to handle and how to have your mindset to being happy with, well, not just being happy, but just being alright with adversity, really.
yes.
So it was a really good book. I would suggest it. I got it on Audibles. It's a good 3 hours, I think. So it's not that long of a book.
Because like even in James, the book of James in the Bible, in chapter 1-2, it says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." I
Right.
think when it comes to the trials, that encapsulates most of thing. I feel like us as people, especially these days, we have things handed to us so easily.
Yeah,
And I mean, I don't want to say we're a generation of weak people,
we are.
but we are. And like in all of this sense of the word, because you look around everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of people, you know, who have like, you know, a religious faith,
Yeah.
like in God, or is a little bit more stoic than others. But like the general consensus is like when something gets hard, you give up, or you sit in a pit and just kind of wallow in your pity.
Can't do that.
You can't. Like, you really can't. A lot of like when you face adversity, you gotta keep going forward. You can't just I hit this stumbling block.
It's
I
hard
just
not to
can't.
do it sometimes because you just get tired.
I mean, absolutely. Absolutely.
And sometimes you can catch yourself doing it, but I think, yeah, you're probably gonna do it eventually. You're gonna hit a time where it's just like, you know, I just can't think my way through this. I can't figure it out.
Oh yeah, and that's the time that you gotta really dig deep and get your heels in the ground and just say, "Hey, I don't feel like I can do this, but I'm gonna push till the bitter end."
Right.
Like I've been, especially like in the military, like with ruck marches and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I did a competition for that, and I was on my last mile, and it was pretty hilly. I made the mistake of having a heavier bag than everybody else, so you know that wasn't fun.
That's gotta suck.
But towards the end of this, there's like a series of small hills. It's like ups and downs. It's a little grassy. It's not on the road because we've transitioned from a dirt road to this mud and dirt.
Right.
And I thought my legs were going to give out, like, point blank. I had someone during the middle of it, he saw me, like, ahead of everybody at first. And he ran with, like, he came up with me. He was like, I competed with you last year. And I was asked to do the competition again this year. And I said, no, like, I can't do it. I don't feel it. Then I saw you come back again. And you've inspired me. And I look up to you because you did it again. Even though you didn't win last year, but you're setting up to win this year. So we were kind of going along, and I started getting up to these hills, and he's just pushing me. And I feel like sometimes you need that person sometimes to push you to do. Because I feel like if he wasn't there, it would have been a lot harder, and I would have let my head get the best of me. I would have slowed down.
And start walking. Instead of running.
Walking, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a ruck march is not really a run or a walk. It's like a fast-paced run, walk. It's you're running and you're walking for periods of time, and you're supposed to like kind of control yourself a little bit. I made the mistake of I'm gonna hit the gas at the beginning, so towards the end, the guy who beat me, he caught up, and yeah, I lost, but I learned a lesson. I learned an important lesson that, hey, yeah, you didn't win today, but take that lesson and evaluate it and say, hey, I need to do better. I need to pace myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Defeat is not always a bad thing. Getting beat, losing,
You learn.
You gotta take an L sometimes to learn a lesson.
The way we
now,
learn.
when you're taking an L and constantly doing it, there's a time that you gotta pull back and be like, hey, what am I doing? You know what I mean? And like, ask for help.
Yeah, and I think that's something I struggle with is asking for help. I don't like.
Me too.
I do not like asking for help for anything. You know that from me too, but you know I'm probably worse with it than anyone. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's important just to keep your head above your shoulders and just to keep going when times are tough. Don't know if I'm going to do a run tomorrow or not, but I'm pretty sure if I do a run, it's going to be at 4 a.m. I'm going to be fasting, and you know. And I think when it comes to motivation, I get motivated by the beginning of the week. And literally after Monday, I'm just like, I want to eat some junk food. I want to go and
I feel you with that.
Play video games all day.
I'm the opposite. I'm not motivated by Monday. By the time I hit Wednesday, I'm like, let's go. We're almost done. You know? Monday, I'm like, I got 5 days of work or 4 days of work. I got to get through this. I got to get through that. But I think it's important to change your mindset on, I got to get through this and just, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to be here this week. I'm going to show up. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get through my gym sessions because I'm trying to, put on some extra weight. Or I'm trying to lose weight.
You got to make time for the gym.
Yeah, it is up. You have to have the time management. I've learned that. Like, you know me. I'm always at the gym. You probably think that I spend most of my life at the gym.
You do.
But I make time because if I don't do it in the morning, well, I gotta fit it in at the end of the day, and it sucks because I want to have personal time to me sometimes, but my health is important, just as important as me getting my personal time. Because if I lose this personal time now, I'll have more later.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like bodybuilding, so that's like another thing.
Right.
It's like I want to look good by a certain time.
I mean, my reasons for going to the gym and yours are completely different, and it's going to be different for everyone.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess I have more physical reasons than I do mental reasons. I think as far as mentally,
I
have the same maybe motive as you. Well, I don't go there consistently, but I have the same, like, I want to bodybuild. I want to get good.
No, so when it comes to that, the gym is my therapy. That is what I found to, like, this is when I'm feeling upset, I can go to the gym and go lift some weights, and I'm calm. It is my way of finding inner peace. It may not be that for everywhere, but I've found that doing any kind of exercise, getting out for a run, like punching bag or something, relieves stress. That is my way of taking care of my mental health. A lot of people say, "Oh, you should go see a therapist." I'm not against seeing a therapist. I just don't see it's needed if I can handle it myself. Because, like I said, life is hard. You know, like we're struggling. We're broke. Two broke dudes trying to get a better job and be successful. So you're gonna always be hitting those dips in your mental. I don't want to say mental health, but you're just stressed about stuff and it takes a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been through things that have stressed you out to where it's affected the rest of your life.
Definitely. And I think one of the things I'm trying to do is not talk about my problems to everyone and put them on this is what happened to me, feel bad.
No,
I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I never liked it to begin with.
Absolutely. But I also think the therapy thing, I would probably switch it out with someone I'm close to, or someone
a person you would trust to talk to.
A person I can trust to talk to, someone I can relate to better. Because here's the thing: camaraderie is what's important during times of struggle.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Yes, you can be the tough guy and say I can handle it on my own. I'll be the lone wolf.
That's what everyone wants.
Being a lone wolf is not cool. It's stupid. You do things together. It's a village. It takes a village. You ever hear that saying a lot of people say, "Oh, it takes a village to raise a kid," or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not entirely not accurate. It's true. It does take a village. It takes a group of people to do something. It takes a team. At work, you probably have a team of people who hey, we gotta accomplish this today. You don't do it by yourself. If you were probably that experienced to do it by yourself, then there's probably no need for the company, and you just go work for yourself.
Exactly. And I think with that, it's just I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I had something and then I just got lost.
But it's important. It's definitely important to rely on someone or have someone to keep you in check. You may not like hearing it, and also make it someone you can take criticism from. If you don't like hearing criticism from somebody, I wouldn't have them as someone who.
I've actually gotten into the habit of asking people their criticisms of how I'm performing when it comes to my job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just and it takes a lot of self-humbling too. You have to humble yourself before you take criticism. You got to understand you don't have it all.
Oh yeah.
You're not good at this. So step back, let someone show you how to do it. Then
absolutely. That is absolutely,
pay attention to what they did. Let them work with you.
That's absolutely
literally how
my job going there with that. I was just saying I'm talking about for personal things.
Right.
Or work your craft. Yes, absolutely. Ask for criticism. I do that at work. That's where I'm at. I'm not the best at work, but I know there's 3 other people who are better than me that I can get resources from.
Right.
That I can train and have them critique me. Absolutely. That is the most important thing. Because you don't get better by being told that you're doing a good job 24/7.
Yeah. I mean, it's motivating. It's motivating, I'm sure. But
it's
it
causes you to be stagnant. It doesn't cause you to try to be better.
You're right.
That's what's important. Is you've never arrived anywhere. You're always going to be, there's always something you could do better. I know that's a bad mentality to have sometimes when someone's telling you a good job.
But it's the truth.
It's rude to say, hey, I could always do better when someone gives you an award for something. But also take your awards. But also keep that keep yourself in check by saying, hey, yeah, I did really good this time. I can always do something better. Always look for improvements.
Yeah. Well, you dropped your phone.
You can always do better. That is my mentality, and that's I try to project that into everywhere. It's just I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna show myself as perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I can do a good job, but there's always improvements.
Do you think faith is a big would be a big factor playing into it? I think so, but
I think so because
faith is your building block.
Oh yeah, but you have to, because I would even say, look at you could put 2 people side by side, and you could see the difference in someone who has a faith and
Someone who doesn't.
someone who doesn't. Absolutely, that's a big chunk of it. Because you have a hope.
I mean, I already know your answer to these in real life. I just need to. I just want to talk about it, expound upon it on the podcast.
Expound on it.
Yes.
Yes, faith is a big part of it. I mean, the problem with our world today, I don't want to say secular world because that comes off kind of
Secular world.
That's us and them type talk.
Yeah, I hate that.
But I would say in our current modern times, our big problem is people who don't have a faith. People who are hopeless. People who are going through things,
Yeah.
and they don't see another way out. They don't see the other side. Like, there's going to be another side.
Right.
I think that is the most important thing. Because here's the thing. A lot of this doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
And guess what? If I didn't believe in God, like, I wouldn't see that. I would probably believe that, like, oh, I do whatever I want. This doesn't matter. And probably one day come to that conclusion that nothing matters. And that's the problem. Everything matters. What you do here in this world does matter. It affects where you're going to be in your afterlife.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. I think faith is a big part of motivation.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
having faith. Like,
probably
and like outside of, like, religiously,
Right.
like, having a faith that you can get to where you're going. Like, you have a goal, you gotta have faith to get there. Like, you gotta put stock in yourself.
Excuse me. Thank you. Getting cold out. We're
It's
doing
true.
this in, like, night. It's cold as I'll get out. I wish we could have a fire pit up here. But
That'd be amazing.
that'd be awesome. We should get like I'm sure they have like a hand warmer thing we can just put out here to have like a replacement fire. They have some stuff like
We
that.
need to get a space heater.
I guess that's what it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's something that I wish a lot of people would see is that faith is like a bigger part of mental health and
What's important.
What's important? Yeah.
And it also, people who have a faith are usually happier than people who don't. I'm pretty sure you have some friends who are atheists who seem miserable 24/7, 7
Yeah.
days out of the week, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell, there's just an aura someone carries. When
It's not
they
just
have no hope.
it's not that they're hopeless, but it's they shed the fact that they don't see them having a hope, and say that because I don't have a hope, you don't have a hope either, and therefore there's no
they
God.
won't share that.
There's no heaven. There's no hell. You just die, lights out, done, over.
Yeah,
and
it's
they're just
like, what's the point?
And it's like even when they try their best to be healthy and be happy, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out for them. It only lasts so long. Then something in their life happens. But hopefully, one thing will have them wake up and be like, "Oh, this is what's right. This is what's true. This is how it is. What it is."
Yeah. But you
And I
can't
think
save
that's just a
everyone
big, huh?
I said you can't save everyone either, or get everyone to
No,
see
you
that.
can't.
It's you gotta know when it's time to back off from trying to talk to someone. 'Cause some
Yeah.
people don't want to hear it, and some people are okay. Some people want to live in pity, and I feel bad because it's just a different like outlook. Like, you see things way different. Like, people, like, prime example. Personally, I haven't reached all my goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't reached any of my goals. I definitely would say I'm unsatisfied with, like, fitness-wise, where I want to be, like, career-wise.
What makes you unsatisfied?
But it
with
makes
all of
you,
that?
you should be hungry for more. You should be like, hey, I'm going to chase after this. I'm going to get this done. I mean, if I didn't have a faith or anything to, like, kind of help out with that, like, I feel like, what does it matter? I'm making ends meet.
I'm going to turn this a little bit like that.
I'm making ends meet.
Here we go.
I'm doing the minimum. And this is a hard thing to break out of, doing the minimum and being lazy. Like, laziness,
Uh-huh.
that is, like, my kryptonite. Because I wake up in the morning. What's the first thing I do?
Bro, I don't even know what you do. Get on your phone.
No, yes, get on my phone and I doom scroll. I get on the stupid Instagram and Facebook reels. I just keep scrolling. And it's a waste of time. I hate that.
And that's something I do waking up every day for work before 4 a.m. runs on some days. Like, literally.
But, like, why do we do that?
I don't know.
Exactly. It's just we're addicted to the stupid phone. As much as a phone is nice, and I'm on the phone a lot, it's great to text people and see what people are doing. That's pretty dangerous. That kills your productivity.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you that, honestly, like, what's holding me back from getting stuff done in the morning is my phone. It's me. I'm just scrolling down the phone and seeing, like, what's happening, or
Right.
I'm looking at stupid, funny reels. Like,
Yeah.
it is the hardest thing to do. Now, sure,
I'm probably going to do it tomorrow before I have to go to church. It's like, I can't
my goal
just
for
get on my phone.
2023 is to, like, just kind of, like, reduce that, because it's a waste of time. It's literally a waste of time. Like, yeah, sure.
That's kind of how I feel about Snapchat right now. I'm kind of getting to a point where I've really just been backing off from it a whole lot. I don't post much on there. It's kind of like I don't have a lot of people I talk to that I used to, at least. But
I will argue, though, that Snapchat is...
a connection.
It connects you, yes. But I would also say that, like, it shows you how much people don't really care.
Yeah.
Because you post your story, you would think someone would swipe up and say something like, "Oh yeah, that's good. You're in the gym. You're getting gains or whatnot." I mean, the only person I talk to on Snapchat is really my girlfriend and maybe my buddy who lives in Conway.
I think I only talked to my girlfriend and some friends who.
But it's a good alternate way of contacting people, and that's
it is.
that's
It's
literally
unique.
all. Not
Very
everyone
unique
wants
as
to
well.
text you through the phone.
Yeah, it is unique as well because it's like you just take a picture of you at work or doing something. You're like, hey, attach that text to the screen, and there you go. And that's unique, at least to me. I sound like an old person. And really, I'm one of these.
Boomer.
I'm part of this generation. I swear, but
I would say I'm on the cusp. Like I'm on.
I guess I'm the cusp too, in a way.
2000. Oh,
2000.
no, because you're in the Zoomer generation.
Zoomer.
Yeah, whatever they're called now.
Oh,
I'm
no,
in
'cause
between.
I think anyone born in 2003, after 2003,
They're the ones who eat
they're
Tide
dumb.
Pods.
They're the ones eating Tide Pods. Yes. They think they're just big gushers that look
Well, I was gonna
appetizing.
say
It's just like, dude, it's literal.
every
soap.
generation has it. Like they hate the next generation, and then the next generation. It just change. It evolves.
But I hate my own generation, so I'm just like, I don't know.
I don't hate my generation.
I don't hate it either.
I don't
It's
hate the
just-
generation. I sympathize because I feel like our generation suffers from a lot of like lack of masculine role models for men wise, and even with women, like role models on their side. Because like, look at all the people who are elevated who are men. You got rappers.
Mhm.
You got like sports team players. That's what we glorify these days. We don't glorify like I don't want to say like a businessman or like
Well, we don't.
we don't glorify like doctors.
I don't know what we really do with businessmen, like as far
But,
as like
lawyers.
when we talk, how we
I'll say-
talk about them.
I'll say lawyers. We don't glorify lawyers like that. We don't
No, they're the ones
glorify like doctors. We don't glorify.
Yeah, well, I think if anything,
police
some
officers
people-
or firefighters.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that section of people who always show respect for law enforcement and first responders and military. But like, what I'm talking about is, as our culture, the people who are elevated are not those people.
Right.
The people who are elevated are your athletes, your rappers, your movie stars. Like, I don't even want to say politicians, but there are some politicians on a certain side that like get glorified more than others.
Right.
But I feel like our priorities are messed up,
Oh, very.
and that takes a toll on men in society. I'm gonna just talk on the men because I can't speak for women, but
No, I can't speak for them
but I
Too
mean,
much.
we don't have a lot
Weird.
of strong men who are leaders.
Right.
Like, if you weren't blessed enough to have a father, you're kind of almost out of luck, or like a father figure of some sort, And I guarantee you, like most of those people like that probably aren't like going to church, so they can't get, that figure from God or
Right.
a man of God.
Even with some people who do go to church and get nothing out of it. who end up that way. Do you think those people exist too?
Oh, absolutely. There's. I'm not saying so. I'm not a believer that hey, one shoe fits all. There is exceptions to the rule. I'm just saying that, like, generally though, what you see, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
What most people are saying.
What most people are seeing in society. Look at your inner city stuff issues. Like, you have extreme poverty. You have men who are not being fathers.
Yeah,
like
running out on their kids. And,
oh yeah, and it's absolutely. Like,
sometimes it's like just the women who's going crazy, and
it's gave birth to the saying toxic masculinity because
like I
like it.
I hate that word.
Me too. I absolutely hate it because I don't think it exists.
Well, I don't think it should exist. I think it does exist, but I don't think people have the right perception of masculinity when they talk about toxic masculinity.
It's all the bad stuff
is what comes up about masculinity.
Like a lot of the stuff that like people complain about in toxic masculinity isn't really a part of true masculinity.
That too.
Like masculinity is different. You're just saying all the bad stuff that it's like being a terrible person. That's it. Literally, you're talking about is just being a bad person, and you're just talking about the men this time. What I'm talking about when I say masculinity is, I think the most masculine man is a man of God. That is absolutely the most masculine man. A man who loves his wife, who loves his children, who will protect his family, who works hard. That's the idea of masculinity. Now, people say like, oh, well, men don't talk about their emotions. I don't think men get the benefit of the doubt to talk about their emotions, nor do we have to. There are some people who do. It's not
about, but even if we do, and we talk about our emotions like all the time, that's losing control over them. It's not about being emotionless. It's about controlling your emotions.
Exactly.
Knowing when to act, and how to feel. Know the right times to cry and the wrong times to cry. You can cry in the wrong times. You can cry in the right times.
So, like, you go.
I try not to cry, but you have to eventually.
Let me give you a situation. I watched a video. So they did an experiment where a woman went to a store. I think it was like a dress store.
I may have seen this one, but
yeah. So she couldn't get the dress she wanted for the dinner. Like, I guess a dinner date with her like fiance, and she was crying, and like everyone was coming to her like, "Oh, are you okay? Like, what's wrong?" But when the man goes and does it, he's like, I can't get the dress for my wife. And he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is I'm about to propose to her and all that. He was crying.
Yeah.
People acted like he was weird. Like, not even the females wanted to comfort him. But I'm like, that's not the right time to cry. Especially like for men. Like when a loved one dies, or something tragic happens, like when your dog dies. When you have a breakup, that's more reasonable than just over something small. We just don't have that luxury to cry in outbursts whenever we want.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is as a man.
Exactly.
These days, you can't, because then you're like, oh.
And this is definitely a topic, just masculinity and father figures that I want to have for the next episode.
Oh, my bad. Am I breaking it?
No. I mean, I think
we could expound.
I think I'll get a different. Yeah, I think it'll be expounded on, and we'll get a different perspective and from someone who is more advanced in this department of being a father and being more of a man. Because we're just 20-year-olds. Yeah. We don't have any kids. We don't have a family of our own or anything.
Like our father is a prime example.
Exactly.
Like for us, like we've already seen. That's what's the problem. There's a lot of people, a lot of young men in our age group who hasn't seen that, like what we've seen from our father. Yes, our father wasn't there all the time because he was overseas on trips.
But I mean, that's work.
It's work. And there's sacrifices.
And at the end of the day, it's a sacrifice to take care of the family.
Exactly.
It all circles back to itself.
It all circles back to itself. So I feel like a lot of young men don't have that. Like how they treat females.
No,
like,
they don't have it.
They don't have it. That's just very. I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say toxic masculinity. I'm just gonna say it's bad.
Not good for men.
But it also doesn't promote success. Now you do have your outliers who've had bad wives who have made something of themselves. But most times, you don't have a lot of success in life. I know David Goggins. You mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
he was abused and had a terrible household, and he made something of himself.
Yeah.
But not everyone goes through that, and there's one shoe doesn't fit all in these scenarios.
For sure.
But there is a common story that you hear from people who don't have a father figure. And it doesn't just apply to men. It applies to females too.
Yeah.
Like, having a father. Because if you have a father that treats the daughter well, she'll know what to expect from a man. Do you agree with that?
Definitely.
So we play a big role. I think society has demonized men like that, saying they're controlling and it's wrong, that you should let your daughter do whatever you want, and just the whole rebellious thing.
Right. Yeah, and that's just a big part of I think a big part of today with people. That's just not good. But yeah. But with all that being said, with masculinity and man and yes,
yes,
how does accountability play into all of this?
Accountability. Ooh.
How does it play into masculinity?
So, it is. I would say, in my opinion, accountability is a part of being masculine. Being accountable for your mistakes that you make. Yes, not all of us are good at that. You know me. Like, I have my times where I'm like stubborn. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, even though I'm wrong. But being accountable for your actions, that is the most important thing. I've gotten in trouble when I was out of town in Alabama. And, like, I was talking to the supervisor then. Well, he's really more like a manager.
Yeah.
But he was saying, like, you did this was wrong. But I noticed that you held accountability. Like, that was one of the things I said on day one is, like, the most important thing. This is what's going to get you success here.
Yeah.
Is accountability. And he's right. Because if you're not accountable for your actions, you're going to go to jail. Like, you kill someone, you're not accountable for it, you're still going to be found guilty. It doesn't change.
That's kind of automatically, you're automatically accountable for it. It doesn't. It's nothing you have a choice in with that situation.
That, you don't hold yourself accountable.
Because if you don't hold yourself, people will.
I will rephrase it. You don't hold yourself accountable for it.
Yeah.
I will say that. Yeah. Because here's the thing. The rest of the world will hold you accountable for it, whether you like to or not. And that's the thing. We pick and choose who we want to hold accountable.
Yeah.
Let's get into a topic. Johnny Depp.
Oh Lord.
And Amber Rose. That whole scenario. They were holding him accountable for stuff he didn't do.
Right.
But you have what's his name? Who's the Flash?
Ezra
Miller. That dude. He's running around town like drunk and being disrespectful, like destroying property and stuff like that. But he didn't lose his stuff.
No one canceled him.
He didn't get canceled. And that's where I feel like when it comes to holding people accountable and people who are like, pro cancel culture fall short is they don't look in the mirror at their own side.
But also they throw accountability at people, but they don't ever take accountability on themselves.
Yes. And they'll probably, people like that will probably say the same thing. Or who subscribe to that belief, they'll say the same thing as we do. Oh, they never hold themselves accountable. Blah blah blah. Because this is going to be another transition, but they'll be like this. Like, let's talk about school shootings.
Yeah.
Like, they will try to hold you accountable for because I'm very pro firearm and I think everyone should own a gun and have the right to self-defense. They'll try to be like, well, look in the mirror at yourself. Wouldn't you try, if you could save every single life? Wouldn't you take away all the guns? And they ignore the fact that you can't do that. It's impossible because the bad guy will always get the gun. Always. I don't think anyone's buying legal. So why are you making it harder for the legal citizen to protect themselves? And in my personal opinion, and this is a lot of people don't subscribe to this, and even people who believe what I believe don't subscribe to it, but I do think the best nation is a nation that's armed. Point blank. You should have the right to defend yourself no matter what. It's a God-given right. That's what it says in the Constitution. Yeah. Now, there's people who are saying, you believe the Constitution, the Second Amendment says, "Oh, you're gonna fight the government." Well, no. I mean, it's there. Yeah, we're a well-regulated militia. It's a checks and balance, just like the rest of the government.
Right.
It's a checks and balance because you have, man, I'm drawing a blank. You have the different branches of the government that all check each other. You have the executive branch. You got then you got the Senate. You got the House, and you got judicial. They all check each other. I think the Second Amendment is just an extension of that. Because look at the countries that took away the guns. Like Australia, prime example. They took away all the guns, back in the 90s?
I think so.
And they had a bad school shooting. And they turned them all, they made everyone turn in their guns. Now look at Australia now. Like, they have pretty much concentration camps for COVID people. Like, if it was an armed society, I don't think that would go over well. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't go and take it. Now, I'm not advocating to go fight the government, but I'm pretty sure the government is not going to try to, hey, let's go take these people down with the guns. I'm not anti-government by any means. I'm just saying it's there for a reason. Yeah. It's just a checks and balance. That's all it is. Look at Canada. They're doing similar things to Australia. Like, their prime minister is pretty much authoritarian. He took away the handguns, last year?
I think so, yeah.
He just took away handguns. And they're not, they're locking people in their houses and stuff. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And the government's not really on your side in that situation.
They're not.
And this is what also comes to that. The government's not there for your protection either. Yes, the military is to defend the country, but when I'm talking about you're walking down the street, the police aren't here to protect you. The police are to keep law and order. They respond to stuff, but they're not going to be there when something happens. That's why I'm such a pro Second Amendment person. Is just hey, I've seen videos of people in situations where hey, they talked about a home invasion, and they said they have never felt more violated in their life that someone broke into their home and stole their stuff or beat them. So it's a it's a two-edged sword. You have guns on the street. I don't think the solution is to take away the guns from the citizens. The school shooting situation, why not have maybe a devoted police department to be at the school, patrolling the school, making sure no one goes in? Or even just why can't we protect our kids as much as we protect politicians? Or as much as we protect movie stars?
Yeah.
It's a very everyone wants to look at the gun as the bad thing. I really feel like people are focusing on something that looks scary and it's a tool. Mm-hmm. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. And a person who has an intent to kill someone will probably do that. Look at London, all the stabbings they have. They don't have guns, but their stabbings are in the high heavens of how many a year they have. People throw acid in people's faces. It's such an important thing.
If someone wants to kill you, they'll find a way, and it won't always involve a firearm.
Exactly. People
you gotta know. You gotta be ready. You just gotta be ready.
I'm not saying, hey, shoot anybody. There's
no.
always
because then you'll be part of the problem that we're talking about.
As a responsible gun owner, you have to be able to assess the situation.
Yeah.
And say, hey, how bad is this? This is actually necessary. Because even then, look at martial arts. That's another thing that I would advocate too. If you're gonna carry a firearm, know some martial arts. Know how to defend yourself with your hands. Because not every situation is gonna require a gun.
Right.
Look at the guy.
In fact, it's probably better to handle it with
your hands.
Your hands.
Because you won't go to jail. You could even, get a stick. Yes. It's lethal if you hit them in a certain place, but you're protecting yourself not with a gun. That's, that's certain death if you get shot.
What about a knife?
A knife? No, because you're stabbing someone.
Oh, yeah.
You're the legal, lashback for that is... It'll be the same as a gun for the most part.
Right.
But knives are more dangerous than guns.
But they're also tools.
They're tools, exactly. Now, in some states, they say you can't have super long blades. It has to be the size of the palm of your hand.
Yeah. No.
But that's another thing too.
It gets cold.
But we're in the great state of Arkansas, where you can carry a sword on your back going down to Little Rock if you wanted.
Oh yeah, no, I want to do that one day just for the heck of it.
It was
I got a machete. I'll just strap it to my back and just be like, hey, I'm not gonna hurt anybody. I just like this machete.
But I also like don't advocate for going downtown carrying an AR-15.
No,
Like, that's
asking for trouble.
That's what they're doing in Philadelphia. Like, people have been hiring private security to protect the gas stations. There's guys armed because there's so many shootouts in Philadelphia right now.
Really?
Yeah, they have like armed security protecting the gas station with like AR-15s and body armor.
It's just a gas station.
Well, like that's how think about it. That's how bad it got.
That's crazy.
And like,
I did not know about this.
Yeah, I saw it on the news 2 weeks ago. It was.
That's insane.
Oh yeah, it's like this. The world is crazy, and the people who think that you can like, oh, you should just take away your guns. Why are you so like protective of your guns? Well, I like to have a way of protecting myself, and it's a hobby. But it is the best way at this point in my time to protect something. Like when they invent something that's better than a gun to protect myself, I'll be all ears for it. But right now, this is what we got.
For sure.
What about you? How do you feel?
Well, being someone who does have a gun, but I don't have multiple guns, and I'm still trying to expand my knowledge on firearms.
Mm-hmm.
I think that having one is absolutely necessary. I would advise anyone who is looking to protect themselves, their family, or anyone, or just to have one in general. You know, go and get one. You know, the world is not get them out of the hat. The world is not legally happy.
Please,
the world is not a happy place.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And you can't always talk to people about their problems and them not be like 100% sane and then guarantee that they're not going to hurt you.
Look at the different drugs that are on the street. Like fentanyl, that's a bad drug to be on. And like if you're fighting someone who's on fentanyl, they feel like they're Superman. They're gonna come after you. And you can shoot them multiple times and they'll be fine.
It's like star power from Mario. Man.
That's literally what it is.
I don't have any like experience with that, so don't think that.
But it's insane. Like it's getting worse and worse every day. Like
it's just gonna continue.
Look at your your big cities. Like gun violence is a problem. But I don't think you should like take away your average everyday person's
gun rights
to like, oh yeah, we can take them all. How about we handle the problem with maybe giving more money to the police and better training to the police? No one talks about that. Everyone talks about defunding the police and taking stuff.
That's just going to make that...
It doesn't make sense. You want to defund the police but take away guns. Those don't go together.
No.
You're just going to have like a lawless land where criminals are going to come and take what they want. It's going to be like the Purge. It's going to be like the Purge. Like that's literally what it would be if you say, hey,
away guns
let's take the money away from the cops so the cops don't want to work, and then take away your guns. People are still going to commit crimes. And good people are going to die because they don't have the effective means of protecting themselves.
Right.
That's, in a nutshell, what I see going on, and that's what I see certain people in politics and what on social media and stuff are trying to push. Is just like, hey, that's not going to work. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I agree.
We have other examples of countries that have bad crime. You know another country that actually has gun rights? The Czech Republic. Czechoslovakia.
Really?
They have gun rights. They're allowed to conceal carry. Now, it's more stringent. Everyone has to have a license to have a gun.
Oh, yeah.
But they all have concealed carries over there. Like, they have concealed carry over there. And anyone can own a gun for any, like, sporting reasons, self-defense.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, I have 100% respect for that country because it's just like, you don't hear about those things because people don't promote it.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear about too many shootings in Czechoslovakia, do you?
No, not at all.
Exactly. Because everyone has a gun. Like, literally, I was watching a YouTube video about it. It was a documentary. And they were saying, yeah, you could be chilling in Czech Republic and a lady would probably have a gun in her purse. Just
chilling.
Yeah. An armed society is a polite society. That's what I've noticed.
I agree.
Like, go to a gun store. Go talk to the people there. They're like the nicest people ever. I mean, yeah, they're all strapped. But, like, most people are like, they're respectful. You don't see that with people.
They keep it cordial.
Exactly. Like the whole, I know this is like such a sensitive topic because people are very, they feel for it. But the Kyle Rittenhouse thing.
Oh yeah.
That whole scenario. Yeah, he should not have had that gun downtown in Kenosha.
Especially
that
when
was bad.
Did he like cross the state?
He was being dumb.
Did he like cross the state
Well, he
And
worked
with
at that gas
different gun
station.
models or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, he was being dumb. That I will acknowledge that. But if he did not shoot those people, he would have been dead right there. And I don't think we would have heard anything on the news about it. Like, 100%. That guy had a Glock in his face.
Yes.
And he shot him. Like, I'm just saying, like, he didn't shoot first. He was just holding his gun. I don't think that's wrong. Yes, he should not have been there at that time and place.
Yeah.
We could debate that. But just in pure self-defense, the guy who was chasing him with the gun shot at him, and he shot. And then the guy tried to kill him with a skateboard, which you can die from blunt force trauma. Everyone was like acting like, "Oh yeah, you fight him with a fist, you know, that's not bad." Like, well, it's just a skateboard. Yes, you can die from blunt force trauma. You can get knocked out and get up 2 days later and die.
Like the fight I told you I saw at work the other day. Like the guy came up with a crowbar or metal rod.
Yeah.
And it's like a heavy metal like that. Once that lands and hits somebody right in the dome, it's game over.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially if you hit hard enough.
And it's just people don't see that. People just see like, oh, because it was happening during like the protests, that's why it's bad. I'm like, let's just ignore everything and just look at the main problem, the situation alone, with nothing else. All the context it applies, but it is self-defense. That's what I believe. It's not gonna change.
Exactly.
But I'm open to debate if he was there, like, for the right reasons. That is 100%. But if he had lost that trial, that would also prove that, like, self-defense doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And this guy is still getting sued to high heaven. Like, he's still getting lawsuits and stuff. Because a big thing that I advocate for is concealed carry insurance. It's called USCCA.
Yeah.
They are very good. They will pay for a lawyer if you get in a self-defense scenario, knife or gun or anything. Like, if you protect yourself and you end up having a fatality during that situation, you can call them and they will provide you a lawyer, like a defense attorney, whatever you need. They'll talk to you. Because that's another thing people don't get. It's just like, yeah, you may win the criminal case, but you have a civil suit, and the guy's family might come after you, and it's just going to be there just to just bankrupt you completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the burden of when you're carrying a firearm in public to defend yourself. Yes, do it, but understand that you're liable.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Sorry, this is like been my.
This is I can tell. I mean, hey, if you want to come back with a part 2 and you didn't get all your thoughts out, you know, you live with me, so you could just be like, hey, let's do another part to this.
I'm willing to debate.
This is going to be a hefty episode too. I'm sure it's going to be long, but I think I'm going to call it here. Okay. It's freezing. It's really cold. But we should probably do this again with better weather.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for coming on and
thanks for having
supporting me. My hobby, you know. I actually introduced you in this one instead of the last episode where I didn't introduce Emily. So yeah, I kind of feel guilty on that, but I'll have to get her back next time and have her on too. But is there anything you'd like to plug? Any Instagram, Discords, or?
No. I don't
have
too many.
Plug anything except for
what? I mean,
hey, none of my guests have plugged anything except for like one of them.
I mean,
shout out Porch Thoughts.
Shout out Porch Thoughts. Yes, on Porch Thoughts. No, I am doing a fitness Instagram. I'm kind of waiting until I hit my goals before that and start like progressing. Because I do want to get a ISSA certificate so I can be like a fitness trainer. So if you want to follow my secondary Instagram, it's young_Lou98. Follow me there.
I'll probably link it into bio.
But yeah, there's not much posted on there, but I am definitely trying to build like a fitness blog type style thing eventually when I have money.
Yeah, of course. But yeah. Well, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah.
Follow Young Lou. Follow Porch Thoughts. Yes. And also, shout out to Nexus Coffee Shop. Last episode, I went over there and they didn't tell me to leave until it was almost time to close. But that's because it was almost time to close. So shout out to Nexus Coffee Shop. Loved it there. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Thank y'all for tuning in. And
There's butter in the water.
there's butter in the water.
And water and butter.
Water, yeah. Y'all have a good evening, day, or morning, and I'll see y'all again next time. Bye bye.